Did you ever wonder who the strongest teen in One Piece is? What about who is the strongest grandpa? Or even better, who is the strongest character over the age of 100? Today, I'll pick the strongest One Piece characters in each of these age ranges, and let's start by choosing the strongest kid in the show. As you could have probably guessed, there aren't many strong kids in One Piece, so even someone as weak as Tama should be mentioned here due to her animal manipulation ability. Another great candidate is Caesar's pet, Smiley. And yeah, I know he isn't human, but he really is only a few years old, which is fair if you ask me. His massive poisonous body had Zoro, Brook, and Kinemon completely stunned, as they had no idea how to even fight it. However, Smiley's weakness to fire is what drags him down, which is why I can't pick him for this category. But thankfully, there's another kid in the series whose power easily surpasses everyone else's, Momonosuke. You see, his growth has been accelerated, which means that he is still an 8-year-old while having the body and physical strength of a 28-year-old, which should make him stronger than any other kids in the series. On top of that, he also has a copy of Kaido's devil fruit and has even learned how to breathe fire. One category down, 10 more to go, and let's continue by choosing the strongest teen in the show. Here, we obviously have Kobe, who is supposed to be the future of the Marines, but currently, he isn't all that special. He did blast off Bizarro's hand with his punch, which is impressive, but we don't know if he can recreate that. But someone who should be stronger than Kobe is definitely Carrot, who can get pretty strong with her Sulong form. The problem with her is that Sulong can be used only once a month, which is far from ideal. Now, although Shirahoshi herself is extremely weak, she is literally an ancient weapon that can control all the sea kings in the ocean, which is why I absolutely need to consider her. So, is there a character in this age range who can rival Shirahoshi's ridiculous power? Well, there is. The sun god Nika. Two of them, actually. You see, both Bonnie and Luffy are incredibly powerful in their Nika forms, but I think it's obvious who is stronger between them. Besides being a sun god, Luffy has also mastered all 3 advanced forms of Haki and has even managed to successfully battle against immortal elders. I don't think there are any doubts about this one. Luffy takes this category easily. With that covered, we are officially getting to the 20 to 30 range, where some of the strongest new generation pirates are. Can you guess who'll win this one? Kid and Law, for example, are fearsome pirates, but they got their butt handed to them the moment they went solo in the New World, so I'm pretty sure we can find someone better than them. Someone like Sabo is a good contender, as he easily managed to beat up Jesus Burgess during the Dressrosa arc. But a lot has changed since then, and Burgess has eaten a really powerful devil fruit, which possibly makes him stronger than Sabo now. However, that doesn't matter, because there are still a ton of characters in this age range that are stronger than both of these guys. Straw Hat's numbers 2 and 3, Zoro and Sanji, have both gotten incredibly strong recently. For Zoro, it was Enma, and for Sanji, it was his genetic modifications. These two are very similar in terms of strength, so it's a good thing we don't actually have to choose between them, as there's someone who should be stronger than both of them. You see, Yamato was able to fight off a serious Kaido for a pretty long time, which is something I doubt Luffy's officers would be able to do. I believe this feat raises Yamato above all the competition, and that she deserves to be called the strongest in this category. In the 30 to 40 years range, we will start with Charlotte Smoothie, because she is an interesting case. Judging by her bounty and status as a sweet commander, we are led to believe that she is almost as strong as Karakuri, but the only opponent she ever fought was Raiju, which does not seem that impressive. Boa Hancock's bounty is much higher than Smoothie's, and her devil fruit is terrifying, because it lets her basically turn anyone to stone. This power would be totally unstoppable, but as we know, strong Haki can negate devil fruit powers, and there are 2 people in this group who are nothing short of Haki masters. Both Odin and Shanks completely focused on improving their Haki and had no other sources of power, aside from their swords, of course. But to compare the two is tricky, because Shanks is considered to be one of the strongest pirates ever, although he didn't do much yet. Odin, on the other hand, has completely impressed Whitebeard in their battle, and even had a real shot at beating Kaido. However, despite his lack of achievements, I still have to give this one to Shanks, as I can't really imagine Odin being stronger than this guy. There are still 7 categories left to cover, and at the end of the video, I'll pick who the strongest character over 100 years old is. In In the 40 to 50 range, there are a lot of ex-warlords like Crocodile, Jinbei, Kuma, and Doflamingo, who are all insanely strong pirates with very high bounties. But then there are some other characters who don't even have bounties on their heads that are equally strong, like Magellan or Denjiro. Zoro has admitted that Denjiro is quite powerful after their clash, which is not something you often hear him say, while Magellan, on the other hand, has such a lethal devil fruit that doesn't seem to have any counters. The guy literally one-shot pre-time skip Blackbeard, which says a lot. But even stronger than this guy is someone like Kuzan, whose devil fruit is equally deadly and is physically much stronger due to his battleship punching training. But what if I tell you that not even Kuzan is strong enough to win this category, and that there are still two more insanely strong guys we need to consider, Mihawk and Blackbeard. Although Mihawk is considered to be the world's strongest swordsman, we've never seen him fight for real, which makes giving this category to him a bit unfair. This is why I think that Blackbeard should be considered the strongest character in this category. But it's gonna be so hard to pick the winner of this next age range because this one is just filled with absolutely crazy characters. Starting off strong with 3 admirals, Fujitora, Kizaru, and Akainu. Fujitora is by far the weakest, and between Akainu and Kizaru, it's likely that Akainu is stronger as he won 2 out of 2 fights he participated in, which were both against very strong enemies. Now, we can't really compare Akainu to someone like Ben Beckman, who we know basically nothing about except that he has to be strong because he is Shank's right-hand man. But even if we don't count him, there are still 2 characters in this category who could easily beat up Akainu. One of them is Kaido, the world's strongest creature, who proved himself to be incredibly durable during his various fights on Wano. And although he seems to be a logical pick here, Kaido is extremely unfortunate to be in the same age range as another legendary figure from the past, the Pirate King, Goldie Roger! There's no reason to even explain this one. Roger in his prime would absolutely wipe the floor with Kaido. In the 60 to 70 age range, we have characters like Redfoot Zeph and Gan Fall, but let's be real, these guys aren't that strong. A solid pick here would be 69-year-old Onimaru, who has been fighting anyone he came across on Wano for the last 2 decades. He was also able to fight evenly with Zoro for a short time, although he definitely held back a bit. The Vegapunk satellites should also fit in this category since they are a part of Vegapunk. Although they aren't that strong on their own, the highly advanced weapons and machines they can use definitely make up for that. Something like the bubble gun, for example, can be a game changer in many fights. But with all of their weapons and technology, they could never defeat the former Emperor of the Sea, Big Mom. She has proven multiple times that she is literally unstoppable, and it took the combined efforts of Kid and Law to finally bring her down. Ages 70 to 80 are where we start to see mini legends from the previous era. But can you guess which one of these monsters is the strongest? For example, even though Rayleigh has been retired for a long time, he is still strong enough to stand his ground against an admiral and has a haki powerful enough to make someone as strong as Blackbeard tremble in fear. Besides him, Garp, Sengoku, and Tsuru are all in this age range. But I think we can all agree that Garp is easily the strongest of the 3. His performance on Hachinosu was crazy. Yeah, he lost in the end, but he was up against multiple Titanic captains, and he still managed to send San Juan Wolf flying off the island and severely injure Kuzan. However, believe it or not, there's actually one person in this age range who may even be stronger than Garp, and that is Whitebeard. The big difference between these two is that aging had a much worse effect on Whitebeard than it did on Garp. During the war on Marineford, the Whitebeard was so sick that he couldn't even activate his Conqueror's haki, while Garp, on the other hand, seemed to be in perfect shape. So even though Whitebeard is known as the strongest man in the world, I don't think he would stand a chance against this legendary Marine. The next category is characters between 80 to 90 years old, and some possible picks here are Mother Carmel or Clover. However, these two really aren't that strong, so we'll have to keep looking. A much better pick is Odin's father, Hozuki Sukiyaki, a swordmaster whose attack was strong enough to destroy an entire portion of the house and send Luffy flying. And while that's impressive for his age, I doubt he could hold up against Hadrudin, the captain of the new giant pirates. His punches were described as bolts of thunder, allowing him to overpower several powerful gladiators and even defeat Match Vice, one of Doflamingo's officers. Before we cover who the strongest character over 100 years old is, let's first quickly cover the 90 to 100 range. So after a lot of research, I only found 3 characters for this category, but it's still gonna be pretty interesting to figure out who the strongest is out of them. The first one is Straussen, the head chef of Big Mom Pirates. Now, while his primary role is that of a cook, we can't forget that he is a former member of the legendary Rocks pirates, which tells us that he has years of experience and is probably really good at fighting. However, an even better pick than him would be Brook, who, despite being 90 years old, has never been in better shape. Ever since he joined the Straw Hats, he has gotten much more powerful and even learned how to use his devil fruit to its full potential. And although I love Brook, I can't really give this category to him, as there's someone who would absolutely crush him in a battle, San Juan Wolf. Despite being the biggest man in the world, we can't forget that Wolf was also one of the few level 6 prisoners strong enough to join Blackbeard's crew. Even Ivankov said that he was one of the most dangerous inmates in the prison, which is enough to make him the winner of this category. Now, you may not think there are many characters who are over 100 years old in the story, but there's actually a surprisingly large number of them. Most of these characters are, of course, giants, as they all live over 100 years. Dory and Bragi, for example, are a great pick for this category, as they are the two strongest giants we met in the story, and their ridiculous new bounties speak for themselves. Another great pick here would be Zunesha, a 1,000-year-old elephant with insane strength. However, none of these characters can compare to the demonic power of the 5 elders, who are confirmed to be much older than they look. During their fight at Egghead, we got to see their true strength, but more importantly, we also learned that they are pretty much immune to any damage. So, is that it? The elders win this category? Well, not quite, because there is still one character far stronger than the elders: Emu. We don't know if it was a devil fruit power or some sort of magic, but Emu was powerful enough to turn Saturn into a pile of bones while not even being in the same room as him. This, combined with the fact that he pretty much rules the world, should make him the obvious winner of this category. Click on this video next, where I created the worst possible character in One Piece. Go on, click it.